Hey. This is not going to be a laughing matter, guys. So I'm going to fix me a meditation, and we're going to talk about some things. Of course, we're going to, before we lead into the battle, we are going to prepare ourselves with some prayer. I need just about 3 minutes, y'all. I'm running behind. Please forgive me, guys. This was put on my heart. See, it's funny how when you're running with God, you don't have to ask or pray for no content. He puts it on you. He puts it in you, right? That's a fact. We know that, right? How's everybody doing tonight? Yes, it goes good with anything. Critical thinking. Right? I'm not a junkie, right? I don't get on here and snort shit or drink shit, or that ain't for me, right? If it came from the earth, it's probably okay, right? So, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? So we have a problem, guys. Not that we have any new problem that we didn't have before. We just have a new kind of problem. Okay? I guess as you can garner from the title, we're going to be talking about a confession today. Allegedly, someone has confessed to not only the abduction of Summer Wells, but the dumping of her body. Now, this went widely unnoticed, I think, for the most part, because I stopped giving a voice to the Predator Hunter Nation. The Predator Nation. Hooah. So, we are going to start with a prayer, one of my most favorite prayers besides anything SM Lockridge has put together. This is by an individual who has since passed on, R.I.P. Earl Simmons Jr., also known as DMX. DMX struggled all of his life with a cocaine problem and how that fit with his love for Jesus, right? So I preface that to say that hi Delin. It's become really hard to stay focused. It's become really hard to be able to tell Don and some of the other believers and supporters out here what the hell they should do next, right? I don't actually know what the hell you should do next, right? I'm going to tell you this. I'm a street dude all the way through and through. I'm a street dude, right? So, the things that have attracted me to things in life have brought me out to where I am today, to where I have a grand understanding. It was my interest in hobbies that led to me being incarcerated to where now I have such a grand understanding of law enforcement, right? So, and the things Duly noted there. So what I want to do is I want to start out with, I want you to catch it in there, right? I want you to catch what scripture he says in there, guys. Catch it. So you know, I just want to see it. I want to see that you caught it, right? Here it is. Here we go, guys. We're firing it up. Here we go.
Yo, let us pray. Father, please walk with us through the bad times as well as the good. May we be heard and understood from the suburbs to the hood. May you judge us by our hearts and not by our mistakes. You see that we get our breakthrough however long that it takes. May you fill that void in our souls that will lay our fears to rest. But there's no way we can live for Jesus when we're living in the flesh. So I pray that you allow our spirits to be born, grow strong, move on, know right from wrong. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15, do not love the world or anything in the world. And we know what that means. But listen, we know the distance we need to be away from fire to keep missing.
That doesn't mean listen.
Lord, you take care of fools and babies. Teach women to honor their men and men respect their ladies. But lately, so many of us have gone astray, doing wrong for so long that we've forgotten our way. Please bring us back home. Instill in us the word which is our backbone, which is children at grown. There is so much that we're entitled to,
but we receive so little.
To this time of spiritual warfare, we're comfortable. Little. So I pray that you open our eyes. Give us the anointing to recognize the devil and his lies. If we keep our actions wise and our prayers sincere, ahead to the sky, you will diminish our fears. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. So, did you guys catch the scripture? Did you catch it? John 1, verse 2, 15. Let's take a look at it. 1 John 2:15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, for love for their Father is not in them. Let me read that again, because I did kind of discombobulate it. Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. Hooah? Hooah. What is that telling you? That's going back to what we talked about yesterday, right? I really tried to pound in. I tried to pound in the gap there, guys. That there's a template in which we all should live. And it's in regards to how God wants us to live, right? So, what he's saying is do not fall in love with the world or anything in the world. For the Father, the love of the Father will not be in you. Hooah? So, when we put worldly things like children, dogs, grandmothers, just, you know, any of our precious loved ones, when we put them before God, we now have love for the world, and the love of the Father is not in us. If we love him first, he will put the kind of love in our heart space that is qualified by him to be held by those that we hold dear. Amen. Amen. Do not fall in love with anything in the world, for the love of the Father is not in you. Hooah? Hooah. So, when we start putting into the world that we love Summer more than we love our Savior, there is no way we can bring her home. There is no way that we can mock Don for standing behind or with his God during his time and his family's time of need. And those same people want searchers to run around in these woods with no Jesus in their heart and bring home a child against everything God would want, right? Hooah? Hooah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Definition of confession. Confession, a formal statement admitting that one is guilty of a crime. Got that, right? Or a statement setting out essential religious doctrine. We are not with that one today. We are with this one, a formal statement admitting that one is guilty of a crime. Now, let I show this. False confession. False confession is an admission of guilt for a crime which the individual did not, I say, did not commit. Although such confessions seem counterintuitive, they can be made voluntarily, perhaps to protect a third party or induced through coercive interrogation techniques such as the Reed method. Now, YouTube sent me a email today personally, and they said, "Sir, we love what you're doing, but you're cursing like a sailor. We would love to give you more green monetizations on your videos, but the language is a little too moderate." Well, fuck you, YouTube. Because this ain't about money. You slick motherfucker, you. So, confessions. Are we aware of the different kind of confessions that are available? What is pertinent to us is what the true definition of confession is and what the true definition of a false confession is. Now, we have an individual named Ernie P. Warren Shell, a.k.a. Boss Hogg. This fool, he has threatened so many people. So many people. Who are? He has threatened more people than the law allows. How do you get a false confession, Vinny? Through coercive interrogations or techniques. False confessions sometimes are made voluntarily to protect a third party. Who are? Who can hear me in the house of Benny tonight? Can you hear me? Let's see what Ernie's been up to.
So you're off.
Hey, Bert. Now that guy has the actual Bert and Ernie voice. Whoever the hell is driving that black Hummer is the true voice for Bert and Ernie.
Amish? You're Amish, Sanders? I like omelets too, but are you Amish? No, but I like Amish furniture. Where get your gloves on? So,
Better get your gloves on. Remember that, guys. Better get your gloves on. What do we know about the last time this fool went to search?
This is for documentation. I can't even talk.
What the fuck's it for?
This is for documentation purposes.
Okay, I got it now.
Is that work? So I guess we're gonna act on a tip that it's on the Summer Wells case.
Now, what do we know about handling tips, people? We don't handle tips. We don't deal with the family in real life. You can call them, you can talk to them, you can Facebook them. We don't go see about people, right? We don't change the dynamics of what's happening naturally. Okay? Hoo-ah, moving on.
So apparently, we'll see what's going on with this, and then we may be going a few more other places.
I sure hope you don't go a few more places.
Hopefully, this may be the official last part about doing it. about this case here, Summer Wells. This case right here is pretty much driven us nuts, literally. This is just something that just needs we just need to move on to something else.
Yes, you're right. Not because we are worried about what the fuck we look like online, but because moving on would mean that we had a closure or a finality to Summer's case. This is not, I repeat, this is not a made-for-TV production, Ernie. But I do love the leather wristband with the steel studs in it. Very, 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 what do you call that? What do you call that? S&M, that's the word. I want to know if he showers with those, because if he showers with those, you know how those things must stink? Like, it is just a funk conductor, this thing right here. Like, that's gross, right? Like, does anyone else, when they put on rubber gloves, like, does the sweat run down the rubber glove? Like, for me, terrible, fuck! Do you know what this is? This is a fucking funk conductor. Hold on. My family's pulling in. And I don't want the sodomites that could be watching. Monkey Mar. I don't want the sodomites that could be watching. You pity. Hold on. Ah! All right. Give me just a few minutes. Not even a few minutes. No, they did not wear gloves, did they? They did not wear gloves. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to start this from the top after my family comes on in, because I get in that motion of why yell cut, you cuss and yell why. Madam, somebody flick some iron around that situation right there. Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Monkey. Lizzie B. Savage. What? All right, guys. Family's out the way. Hoo-ah, hoo-ah. All right, so actually, I won't play it back because we're not into anything crucial yet, right?
It's pretty much driven us nuts, literally. This is just something.
This has driven him nuts. Seriously, I think this fucker was nuts before that. Now he's just trying to blame it on the Wells, right? If we can just blame anything on Benny or the Wells, our life will be worse for the wear, right?
It just needs, we just need to move on to something else.
Well, fucking move on. You don't need permission from anybody to take your tattered ass and move around, sir. All 5'4" of you. Take the whole stack and move around.
Bring your gloves, Tina. Yeah. I got one. No, don't touch nothing. Nobody.
Hold the fucking phone. Didn't he just get through handling a whole bunch of fucking shit at the racetrack? Wait a minute. Why now is this just the progression in your organization so that now you don't touch anything? 2 weeks ago, you touched it all up like you was ready for good loving.
That's nothing. No matter what it is. Yeah. I know. At first I thought it was the route that we're going to.
Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. I wish I had Mark right here, but I don't even know if Mark can do it as good as the driver.
So we're actually going to go to I guess this guy's house.
Now, whoever this guy's house is, why the fuck don't I see any police en route with none of you? I'll tell you why, guys, because if the police were en route with him, they'd be actually going to actually do some shit. Hoo-ah? When you see this fool traveling alone with his pack of dumbasses, you already know ain't shit coming from that. Hoo-ah! Hold on, man. I'm about to tone it down. There, that's warning number 2 from the wife.
All right, we're going to tour.
Oh, we're going on a tour. Tours are usually like good things, right? So I'm going to pause it right here for a minute. How's everybody doing over here? How's everybody doing over here? Huh? Let's see what's going on. All right, guys. So I'm going to open up the panel after this is over. I'm going to play this in its entirety, and then I'm going to process it a little bit, publicly. I've not watched it. I've only gotten a summarization from someone that I trust. And so it was like, okay, well, they're right. So, but you're too loud and can't hear what you're playing. I'm sorry. All the glories to God. So here we go, guys. We're going to finish up this confession. This is my confession, man, I'm thawed and I don't know what to do. I guess I gotta keep on doing my confession. Look at that.
From the 10.
Okay.
What? I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Ernie, are you on live?
Yeah.
Here, you want to plug in so you don't waste your battery?
Yeah, they're going to plug in.
Take pictures.
Yeah, because we're going to take photos. And then I guess. We'll let him explain his story. I told him to go ahead and start videoing.
Well, you want me to go ahead and give a general rundown of what's going on?
Yeah, I want you to tell the story because like I said, I ain't trying to keep too much into the story, but in this case,
Do you want?
This is all lies right here. These fools are fucking knee deep in this story. He knows he's made up shit about this story. We know shit about this story that he's made up that's not even true. So he's way deep into this. But Tina, similarly, go ahead, madam. Go ahead and start talking and so that Ernie can go ahead and throttle you back.
Want to get into the story?
yeah, go ahead. Just tell the story. Don't tell no names about who has been this or that.
Okay.
So this is supposedly.
We got a tip that a man has confessed.
Do any of us really actually believe that someone gave them a tip? Now, before I was conflicted, I said, there's just no way. Benny, there's just no fucking way somebody would bring these folks a tip. But then as I start getting more and more acclimated, And I have more and more understanding of the people that support him every single day I go through, and I know who these people are, my friend. Do you know what I mean? I know where they work at. I know what kind of car they drive. I know what color kid, your clothes. Do you know what I'm saying, man? Like, there's no problem for me, man. Right? I do believe somebody would give him a tip. I do believe somebody would give him a tip. Why do you believe that, Benny? Well, shit, this man would stop doing what he's doing if people didn't feed him bullshit to go waste gas looking for. Do you have any idea what kind of gas mileage this H2 gets? That's an H2. I think it's like 7 miles to the gallon, and they're out here on donations and shit with this right here. I'm sorry, Tina. I didn't mean to interrupt you, love.
This or that.
Okay.
So this is supposedly.
We got a tip that a man has confessed to his family that he tossed Summer Wells' body off a bridge in Newport. We know who this person is. We were waiting to talk to the family member, but we've been told exactly where all this took place. This is very interesting that he took us here, because this is the piece of property that everybody said that the sheriff claimed. No, that's not true.
Don't say.
What is
Anyway, let's go back.
Whoa. Oh, shit. There was like 39 people watching this, so thank God this didn't get mass transmitted, because whoa, Tina. Holy shit. I bet he immediately wishes he had not given you the authority to fucking start opening your mouth. Let me give you a tip. You ought to wash that shit out of your hair, because it looks like you've slept on it for 8 years in a row without washing it. Let's run that back.
to his family?
Yeah, I want you to tell the story, because like I said, I ain't trying to keep too much into the story, but in this case.
Do you want to get into the story?
Yeah, go ahead. Just tell the story. Don't tell no names about who's been this or that.
See, when you repeat what suspects say as confessions, it's not a story. It's a statement, right? They don't even have the verbiage correct, right? If they were actually doing what the hell they thought they said that they told us they were doing, they'd even just use the correct fucking verbiage. Fuck!
Okay.
So this is supposedly.
We got a tip that a man has confessed to his family that he tossed Summer Wells' body off a bridge in Newport. We know who this person is. We were waiting to talk to the family member, but we've been told exactly where all this took place. This is very interesting that he took us here, because this is the piece of property that everybody said that the sheriff claimed. No, that's not true.
Don't say.
I need my helmet. I'm about to bash my head on the corner or something. I just, like, what the fuck are we looking at here? What is this?
Anyways, let's go back out. Okay, you on video? Yeah, I was for a second. My brother called in. Cool deal. We want everybody on video. Take anything you found. That way, everybody can account for everybody. So.
Now, video's one thing, right? Ernie kind of has his head screwed on straight right there. He is kind of, delegating good tactics. But there's a big difference between hitting the record button so that you can show later and the live. Are we aware of the technological differences, right? We are aware of exposing that someone has confessed to you, dumb trucks. Now, guess what? I already know who that guy is. Square business. Real deal. Don't wipe it up. Just leave it there, right? That's one of, like, when you're talking about the drip, right? Don't wipe it up. Just leave it's on the floor now, right? You didn't put it out there. So what I'm starting to see now is that this is not about the reward money for Ernie. I was just certain that he was trying to use Summer Wells's case in order to get the reward to, unrealistically further his production for his really cheesy spinoff of Billy the Exterminator, mixed with a little bit of Dog the Bounty Hunter, and it kind of like Parking Wars. Like he's the whole A&E fucking phenomenon, right? Like he is just the perfect spinoff character. He can go to you can just you can just cast Ernie in anything, right? Anything that's not full body, because you can't really put him next to other real men, because then you see his physical stature is quite narrow, right? So we've got almost 400 people in here. What do you guys think? Dog is the man, right? So what do we think, guys? Is there any one of you 378 people who are in love with things in the world? I know I am. I'm guilty of that. He's a boy, Jan. I am in love with things in the world. I love Dr. Pepper. I love other things that are worldly. I love my wife. I love my children. It specifically says in the book that you ought to put God first, your mate second, and everything else last. When you live in that format, you're living the word, right? Now, do all of us understand why this confession deal with Ernie is such a serious problem? Now, I think that he's hit it well in the fact that he's doing it online, and he's got all of these things all mixed together. He's stormed the Capitol. He was next to the lady that was she was a patriot against justice, so she got what she deserved, right? That lady was she was an enemy of the state, right? That's what we do. You commit treason, and you know what? No trial. Boom, smoke you, right? She got what she deserved, right? She came there for a photo op and left with some lead inside a bag, right? It's what you get when you fuck around, right? Where I'm from in Dallas, we say keep fucking around, and get stuck in the ground, right? That's what it is. You fuck around, you get stuck in the ground, right? So Ernie was in on that murder. Yes, he was. Ernie was a part of the situation with his brother. But we're Mandy, that's for another night. That's another story. What we're talking about right now is the dangers of what's going on with the Predator Hunter Nation in this confession business, right? This is the next ramp up from the business at the Speedway. At the Speedway, it was mildly malignant, but mainly benign. He disrupted things for a little bit, but really what he did is he put himself on the radar. Right now, he's amped and ramped up. He's amped and ramped up his shenanigans, right? So forcing us. No, I'm not talking down to you either, Mandy. What I'm saying is we're going to make a whole thing of it again, right? We're going to get to the bottom of the Ernie Shell deal. But what we want to talk about is the hero syndrome. Again, guys, you guys are going to know this verbatim by the time you're done messing with me in this case. The hero syndrome is a term used by media to describe the behavior of a person seeking heroism or recognition, usually by creating a harmful situation to objects or persons which they can later resolve. This can include unlawful acts such as arson, Reason for this behavior often vary. Now, we do know that Arnie's brother was involved in an arson of the mayor's house. Now, that is a very typical way criminals will try to cover their tracks. There is literally the only thing left behind after a fire is, of course, the rubble and they will find accelerant, right? The gasoline essentially never burns away fully. So they can go back and they can find what's called the hot spot. That's where the fire was most likely to have started, and they move forward, right? So arsons are particularly dangerous because of, not just because you're setting stuff on fire, but because of the mentality and the hurdles in which you have leaped in your psychologics. In this demographic here, this geography, in order to start a fire, the level of that felony is on the level of rape or murder or abduction, right? So if you're a firebug, you could potentially be a dangerous individual to children and society at large, right? So what we have now, guys, is we have a guy who has he has human beings on the construct to develop a team of people that are like-minded as him, but are also seeking heroism or recognition. What do people do online to be heroes? They gorilla glue. I mean, not heroes. Recognition is really what people are after. They don't care if it's negative or not. Look at the guy that did all the farts on the video, and then the Vice grabbed him up, and now he's some sort of online fart guru, right? Now, we're talking about somebody that actually is involved in these situations where he's seeking heroism or recognition, but there's never been a solution to these events. So you start to question, why in the hell is this guy keep popping up with these huge things that never pop out on any news? Like, so we want to believe that somebody confessed to their family and then ran and told Ernie before they told anybody else. Now, I know that Ernie has guns that he's not supposed to. He has hand. He has all the shit that one would need to impersonate the police, right? Hold on, guys. What I will say, sir, is just because you have tools to impersonate the police does not make you the police. It makes you a hero, seeker, whatever. Now, what I want to do now, guys, is something that I don't do a whole lot just because I've offered it before and not a lot of people. Ernie wants to be connected to Hollywood, and that's a fact. Why? This is the thing, guys. This situation is compartmentalized. There's people that are called hybrids. I'm now a hybrid because I look at Facebook and YouTube. I look at Reddit. I look at other stuff, in pertinence to this. So there's a lot of people that aren't hybrids, right? They are anchored to one or the other, or, they don't use one because they've had a bad experience, whatever it is, right? So I'm a hybrid, right? I use each platform, right? Now, there are whole things that are compartmentalized just to Facebook that we don't ever even find out over here unless you hybrid over, right? There are whole just got a whole lot going with this computer here. And I think I may need to take it in. It overheated twice earlier. So we'll see. But I want to open up the chat, or the chat to the panel. If let me look at I don't want to even take the time to play around here. Does anybody feel like they want to come up and, I'm here. Anybody want to come up and speak their piece, get their shit off? You're more than welcome. Here's the link right here. If you want to come up, I'll leave it open. Yes. That's a good thing right there, Kitty. You're absolutely right. If you want to come up and talk about it. I'm not distracting anyone from coming up. We will make it clear that we're not going to be talking about SA stuff, okay? I really don't want to open up any SA type stuff. Other than that, we also aren't going to do. We're not going to do any. We're not going to do any bashing of any creators either. I'll do the bashing. That's cool. Yeah, men lie, women lie. Hooah. Hooah. So, no, he doesn't want to chat. He'll get swallowed up in my legal garb. He can't hang with me. And that's a fact. That's a stone cold Steve Austin fact right there. Let me tell you what. Man, shit. I'm cold with the business. Y'all know that. I'm super duper groovy with the business. So come on up. There's Mandy C right there. Hold on, Mandy C. Hold on, Mandy C. My computer's tripping, y'all. Damn it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mandy.
Is there any feedback, guys?
No.
Okay, because I've never been on this. I'm used to StreamYard.
No, you're good to go.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to come up on here and say that I always thought that, since Cher told me about this Predator Hunter Nation group, you know, fake bounty hunters. Also, he stole somebody, this man was never in the military. He acts like he was a military police for the Marines, a military police officer. And I was just going to say that the threats that they've made towards Cher, you, me, it's obvious these people do not have the best interest for children. They're not trying to protect children. I always got bad vibes from them. I mean, if you look into that, and this isn't just like recent, they've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, there's people that comment under their page. If you look at their reviews and stuff that have been threatened by them, who they've put their children in danger. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, Benny, when Cher told me about, like, I know you don't want to, that's a whole different live stream, but when she told me to look into his brother's case and stuff, I
Right.
instantly, my gut feeling was like he had a part in that, but I know that's a different story. And it's like they portray themselves as these good people, and it's nothing but it's a mask that they put on. It's a facade. And I got to see their true colors when they were when they were talking to me.
What they, if you, do you care to share what they said to you specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it was Lisa. She called me. She said that she was coming to my house, your house, and that they were taking us out. And then Xander, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
He you know, I said, "Why is your wife threatening me?" Because I thought it was Tina at first, right? It wasn't Tina,
Yeah.
it was Lisa. And he said, "No, my wife, she didn't do that. You know, you got the wrong person." They said, "You could have had somebody that at least matched her voice." So I'm like, "Yeah, but this is somebody from your team."
Your
And then
organization.
he said, "I know, because I was next to them when they sent it to you."
Wow.
Yes, you didn't. It was in my live stream that I did on them.
That's scary.
Yeah. So
You know what's crazy though, Mandy? Like he doesn't threaten men. He won't threaten me. He won't even talk to me privately. The only way he'll talk to me is if it's public in a comment somewhere. He won't even address me like a real man. You know what I mean?
no. Yeah, I know. They only get this way towards women.
That's
And
only women.
yeah, and they said, you know, they said they were coming by my place. I said, "Okay, come by my place. Go ahead. Watch what happens." And I'm not trying to be like, I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't go well.
Hell
But
yeah,
they
my
never
wife is
came. A
feisty.
lot of them they're all, for the most part, because they've been so public about this, like recently, I had a feeling that they were just bluffing. But I know that they have gone real life on people. I mean,
They have.
you know that.
Yeah, they do. You know what the real issue is, that there's a lot of guys, and I'm not going to stay here long. I'm going to give you back the floor. There's a lot of, like, all of the supporters in this community are for the most part women, and then you've got some really really bad male creators, and these male creators, they just go hard on women, right? They're either triggering them or they're threatening them. You know, I'm not exempt. I don't threaten people, but I might be like, "Ma'am, you're a dumbass for saying or thinking that way," like, and then block them, right? But I'm not threatening no women. Come on now, like, where's the significance in that, right? Like, let me ask you this: do you live where he can come by your place?
I live in New York.
Yeah, come on.
So
Man.
if they came here, it would be a very far drive, and I live in a gated community. So
They play too much.
yeah, they wouldn't make it out of here without getting caught.
Somebody is going to get somebody. They're going to do something, and somebody is going to hurt one of them folks. I tell you that right now.
Right.
I tell you that. Now, go ahead. You have the floor. What do you think? What do you think the current climate is of this case? And be honest with you. You as long as you're not bashing Don, and I know you don't do that, but you know the boundaries, Mandy. What is your for real view on the current situation, the current environment?
Well, from what I do know, I feel like, and I don't want to, I don't think I don't see the point in bashing the parents or anything. It doesn't help the situation, but I feel like they have an idea as to where she is. And I think that, you know, why? I don't really know. It could be for drugs. And people say, well, what, you know, I don't know of any drug lord that would want a child. Well, that does happen with trafficking, actually, because I was in jail when I did time in the feds. I was in jail with a bunch of them.
Club Fed.
So that is a thing.
Yeah.
What, Benny?
I said Club Fed.
Yeah. But I think that there's a chance that she's still alive out there, and I really hope that well, for a while I thought that she wasn't, but now as of recent I think that she is alive. And I get nervous when people are talking about it, like when even though I know Cher had good intentions with the whole plea thing. I just know because I was around a bunch of these people, and they're sick people. And if they're having her watch that, they could be harming her. They could be it makes me, I get a bad feeling. But I hope they find out, you know. I mean, I can't really say much because I have my own feelings about people that might be involved, but I don't want to accuse without solid proof, you know, because my feelings are one thing, but having solid evidence is another. Benny? AB is, oh, I just saw a comment about him and jumped. Play the video again, BK, if you can, in the meantime. This kind of stuff gets people killed. Why did Ernie only go in water and not really do a full search up that stream? That's a good question, Rita. I agree with you. I don't know where Benny went. I think he dropped out. He'll be back. It's his computer. He said it was overheated. We got to get Benny a new computer, guys. AB, be quiet on the set. What does AB have to do with this? Oh, that's another. Oh my God. I can't believe some of these creators support this Predator Hunter Nation group. It's like, it goes to show that a lot of them don't even care about the case. It's all ego. They just want the views. They just want to be the ones that are, I don't know. They want to be, they act like they're the gatekeepers of this case. And it's not a good idea because this is an open investigation. This is a child missing, you know, a real person. It's not something to be, it's not a game. I don't even know if these comments are.
Thank you for keeping control of it, Mandy. My computer.
Oh my God, I tried. I felt so awkward.
My computer's tripping like a bitch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna join in from my phone. That way, if I gotta take it in now, I think I burnt something up. I think.
But did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I was hearing you. Yes. You know, let me ask you. Do you think that there's any possibility of the third party participant?
I think that's a possibility. Yes.
Okay.
What about you? Yeah.
I do. I think that it's a very high possibility because there is sort of a history of that third party. Like, you know, we have like the metro areas where it's seemingly like that's where a lot of the family abductions happen, is in the big metro areas. And it seems like in this locale, it seems like we have an explosion of that third party, right? So it's a strange dynamic because this area seems to be affected by, you know, that 1 to 350 cases per year. That's the third party. So I wholeheartedly believe that. Here, I just passed the baton. Hold on. There we go. I believe wholeheartedly that there is a third party, without a doubt. I mean, you hands down, there's a third party.
Yeah, I think it's a group of people.
I believe so too. I believe that it's probably some loose ragtag group of people that, you know, kind of make up, you know, an organization of some sort. I mean, you don't have to be the Italian mafia to be, you know, involved in organized crime, right? Organized crime is just a penal code, which means two or more people working in concert, you know, in to try to pull off a caper, right? That's all that means.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Well, what
It's
are your
it's
thoughts
it's
about this whole this whole cartel thing?
well, you know, at this point, is crazy as everything sounds, you haven't heard that you haven't seen any definitive proof that it's not true, right? That's one thing, you know. I mean, and that's not saying that Don had some, you know. I'm not trying to. When you say cartel, you're automatically implying that Don's involved with something, and I, you know, that all I'm saying is that there hasn't been any definitive proof that that's not
No, I
true.
don't think that. I think
No,
I think that when people say that, it sounds ridiculous to me.
I think it does have a pretty comedic shake to it, and I believe Don just probably did say those things in order just to play with people, right? Like I would too. I'm a comedic soul, so if I felt like somebody was really just playing with me and I'm tired of being played with, I'll say, man, yeah, man, I sent my daughter on a you know, a spaceship ride to the moon. Whatever you want to tell them, it's just like none of your fucking business, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Now, I do believe that you have to keep the third party abductor in play because of all of the shady folks that are around there. I mean, that's just what it is. It's a lot of people around there that you wouldn't necessarily go to let them watch. You know, like, hey, will you babysit my kid? No.
Right.
So you know, I don't know, man. It's a really hard situation.
Yeah, a stolen valor. He tried to say he was a military cop,
Yeah. Well,
Ernie,
no, what do you
amongst many other things like law enforcement. I mean,
Yeah,
really.
there is some photos of him in state Tennessee State Guard garb, and I don't know what the qualifications are to be in the State Guard. It's I think State Guard is it's not the National Guard, and it's, you know, so I don't want to downplay any organization.
Well, what he
without
showed
looking.
online, what he showed in the picture that I showed on my live stream of him when he said, "Bro, I might get deployed," that was for the Marines. And that's different than what you're
Than the
talking.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Now, you know, we have the Texas National Guard here, but he had, I've seen some gear with him, you know, pictures of him wearing some gear that says Tennessee TN State Guard. So it's not like a National Guard. It's, I don't know. It's I don't know what kind of organization it is. I have pictures of Ernie wearing a 3%er patch, which is an anti-government organization, right? Like, real
Yeah, I
deal.
know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, like what is that all about, Ernie?
Right. I don't know. This guy is, he's just, it's like the more I learn about him, it just gets worse and worse. And I sit here and I'm like, how is he not locked up? Because if they were really investigating him, I don't know. It's crazy. I know that was when he was when he stormed the Capitol. Yep. I saw that. What people would do for famous.
That's the center. That's him right there.
Yeah.
Right? That's him. Come on now. So, what are you going to do?
All right,
Ray?
Betty. Well, I'm going to get off here. Thank you for letting me on.
You're so welcome. I'm sorry that we had issues.
Oh, no, it's okay. All right. All right, bye, Benny. I don't know how to get off here. Let's see.
Don't be shy. Come on up. Everybody's welcome. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's just now that brings me. Hold on, where'd that go? Yeah, new computer. Let's see. Proud Boys got locked up, but not him. Wonder if he's still connected to the political side of Biden. Hard saying. Seeing how a lot of the people that were there seem to have been following the protocol of the other president. So hard saying. Yep. Let's see here. Benny, can I call in and talk about that Ernie guy? Yes, you may. I've got the, is it the, here. I'm sorry I'm having these issues, guys. There you go. There it is. There it is. Join now or forever hold your peace. Thank you, Francine. Tablet died, had to log in on my phone. Hey, cherries. All right, guys. So, way too long. Way too long, Robin. Amen. Way too long. We need some clarity here, guys. It's time to stop playing around. It's time to stop wasting time making Brokeback Mountain images of me and Don. We're like, what are you doing? Right? We are past that part of it now, guys. It's time to bring her home. How are we bringing her home? By trying to do it without God's help, right? We're never going to bring anyone home. God makes sure that we make it home when we come home from work or whatever. He's the one that makes sure. How? We're going to find that girl without God? I don't know. I don't think we will find her without God. That's the point. Right? Without God, we are nothing. Without God, this search is nothing. And that's a fact. God help us. Thank you, God's grace. How you doing, Carla?
I'm doing good, Benny. How are y'all?
We're all right.
Okay, I have a few things to say about this Ernie guy. You know, it keeps being brought up about the patch that's on his left, his right breast
Correct.
shoulder, and that is a 3%er. That is a militia badge. And usually only those that are a part of a militia are the ones who, you know, honor that badge. In other words, if our government was to fail us, then the American militia in different sections of the United States would then take over and bring order to the United States until the government could once again get control, per se. But that being said,
Anti-government.
right,
So
right.
in the event, really what this organization would do is, in the event of a governmental collapse, these people would then come in on a coup and keep the government from firing back up in its original intention. They would then hinder government. I mean, that's when you hear anti-government, when they would have an opportunity to jump in the case of a governmental collapse. These people would stop the government from being able to start back up. They would be the same people that would flood and break the windows out of the
Friday,
Capitol.
honey.
You there?
It's Friday night. It's Friday. You don't work tonight. Sorry,
there?
my husband had taken a nap and he woke up and he thought he had to be at work. Sorry.
Fair enough.
It is Friday, honey.
So you know what? It's oxymoronic, and it's very in the very idea that you are a policeman, also a Marine that's going to be deployed, but also a 3%er that is a far right anti-government militia movement.
Right, right. And you know,
that's like trying to be.
I have been in a
not do it.
I have been in a few gun groups on Facebook for many years, and one of the gentlemen that I started one of the groups with is ex Secret Service. He worked for the president, and you know, we talked about militia.
He was on security detail for Trump.
Yes. Yeah. No, not for Trump. No, he is retired. This would have been back in Bush administration. But, you know, in the midst of having these gun groups, you have to filter out the yahoos and the woohoos.
Right.
Well, Ernie is a yahoo.
Yeah.
Ernie is a wannabe, and Ernie is one of the most dangerous of that section that there can be, because he's a loose cannon.
Right. He would be the kind of guy that would be he would be good for a copycat scenario, right? That's
exactly.
Yeah, he's good for.
Or he would be one that would be a loose renegade, and he'd go off and do his own thing.
Correct.
And put a lot of people's lives in danger, including regular citizens, you know. But that you know, the first time I saw him, I was like, am I the only one watching this head bobble like a stinking, you know? I'm like, oh my Lord. I'm like, do you do meth much? You know, it was just crazy. And then he kept doing the, you know, trying to grab a hold of he knew he was doing it, but he couldn't control it, you know? Right.
He was trying to keep himself together, but he was just turning inside out.
Right. Absolutely correct. And then the Yahoo would come up to the window and you're my hero and all that kind of crap. One thing I've learned about heroes, they don't have to plug themselves.
No, we already know about.
You know, we know that they're heroes, and everyone else knows that they're heroes. You know. Now, going back to what this other lady had stated a while ago, and if I'm on the same wavelength,
yes.
If not, please correct me, Benny.
Okay.
She was insinuating as if this guy could have possibly been involved. And you know what? I started thinking about that. And I'm like, you know what? He could have very well been involved. He
Absolutely.
really could have. And he's there to blow up, what do you call it? A smoke screen?
Absolutely.
Who the hell handles evidence with their bare freaking hands?
I don't know.
You know, even my kids, you know, we watch enough crime shows that my kids know if you found something, you don't touch it.
Hell no, you don't touch it.
What? I don't know, Daddy. No, honey, it is not. Hold on a second. Yeah, it is September the 4th, Daddy.
You good to go?
You're right. Oh, he's freaking out now. He's late for work. You know, what would be, what I want to know is, you know, you showed him at the Capitol in all his blue and black glory. I want to know, you know, they're tracking those people down left and right.
Facts.
Indian reservation or not.
He's
My
not on the
opinion
reservation
is
anymore.
they know exactly where he is and what he's up to.
Let me tell you what, I spoke to Captain Bob Shaft from the Cosby Police. And they have had Homeland Security there asking about Ernie more than one time. Ernie just posted an old picture of him at the reservation. Like, Ernie works a job. So Ernie he's in the Kingsport, Newport or Kingsport area looking at under bridges and stuff. Like, they're fully aware of what he's doing. And I'll tell you what they are doing, Carla, is they aren't just going to try to get him for one thing. They're letting him build a case.
Yes.
They're sitting back and they're watching all of Ernie, all 5'4" of him in all of his glory.
Yeah.
And he's just continues to offend and continues to build the case. So anybody else?
He's used to intimidating women. You can tell that little spurt that he had that night that you were on live with him.
Yeah.
And he tried to act like tough ball McGraw.
Yeah. He's not.
That that's worked for him for a long time. I'm gonna act like I'm Billy Badass. But you know, honestly, I'll be his Huckleberry. You want to come intimidate some woman? Won't you come on down to Texas? We'll show you how it's done.
Where you at?
We live in Houston.
Harris County, baby. You can come.
Yeah, baby.
Dallas on. You can stop by my place in Dallas on the way down there to see her and get yourself up.
Right.
For the price of one.
The deal with him is who gave him that location to go search?
Someone that is private.
So you know who that is?
Yes, I know now.
Okay. Was it used as a smokescreen just to see what he would do, or is it because they have knowledge?
Say that again.
Was it used as a smokescreen, you know, just to see what he would do, or is it because they have actual knowledge that something could have been there?
No, they do not have actual knowledge. The way that they prefaced it.
Look in your gym bag, babe.
The way that they prefaced it was that they're there because, you know, they're there first before the police, right? Or he would have said, well, the police already been here. We're just coming back behind to show you what's happened. What he's saying is that, you know, she could potentially be here right now and we're going to get there before the police. That's what he's got going on. So is anybody else interested in coming up and doing a little chatting? I'll go ahead and I'll throw the link out again. It's open for anybody that wants to come up. We can come up here and talk about it. Hey, kitty. Everything's bigger in Texas. I got you.
Absolutely everything.
Everything. Everything.
Look in your book bag, babe. Is it in your TV? Look in your TV thing.
Hold on, guys. We're going to go ahead and play this real quick. Trinity. Hold on there, Carla. I just muted you for a minute so you could take care of your business there. Give me a minute and I'll unmute you. Hold on. I am over on another page. Where are we at here? I'm trying to find her channel. I'm just having some issues with it. We got Tattoo Mommy in the house. All right, Carla. How you doing, Tattoo Mommy?
I'm doing good. How are you, Benny?
I am well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I have a question. So,
fire away.
All right. So we're talking about this. I don't know if we're supposed to say his name or not, but the little Bert from Sesame Street's little sidekick.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah, there we go. That guy. So on his live a couple of days ago, he was like spitting up blood, and there was like people in there talking about he's bioengineered, like WTF.
Wow.
Why would you go and set like the first thing that comes to my mind is like,
how about he's just sick and not taking care of himself?
Right. Like, I mean, but I'm like, are y'all out here really trying to say that he's like some RoboCop or some shit? You know what I mean?
They actually are.
What?
They actually are.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you want to know what, Tattoo Mommy? So when I was knee deep in it with Ernie, I had Ernie or Tina, one of them, texting me about how Ernie is he's a werewolf. How Ernie's family is from branches of werewolves. And then he started sending me stuff, and they were like, they call Ernie the White Wolf. And then they started saying how when Ernie and Shelby were little, they had kidnapped Ernie's dad and given him the MK Ultra business. And I'm like, oh, God. And then they started telling me Ernie's the clone. He's a clone of a different Ernie. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? We got AF Pennington in the house.
Wow.
So guys, we're going to, oh, shit, we got Carla Kennard. Okay, that was Carla K. I guess she bumped off.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay, so AF, welcome. Do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Brilliant. Okay. It's quite interesting because it kind of feels like two worlds are colliding at the moment. Prior to starting up my sort of little shenanigans within true crime, I spent several years in the British paedophile hunting community, or on the outskirts of it. So
thank you for that.
Something they call the community. And what we did was we were a group of people who were concerned about some of the behavior of some of the paedophile hunters and the criminal records and the real lifing of people that were against them.
Correct.
So from 2017 up until just a couple of months ago, actually, I was involved in that community and still kind of dipped my toe into it. So our paedophile hunters are very different to the ones I think that you guys have got in America, in that ours stay with the alleged person until the police come, and then they're arrested, and they live stream the entire sting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So some of the really big kind of like, trendsetters from that era, I've been involved in, and I kind of know.
Right.
Now, what you're discussing with this particular group, I've actually left a couple of things on their page that I'd seen that were a bit concerning, and it would be really good to kind of have a chat offline about some of the things, because what you guys are getting now is where we were in sort of 2017. And
Yeah.
very interestingly, going from, I think it was like a 98% public approval rating to 47% public approval rating.
Wow.
And that was purely because of the behavior of some of the hunters and the real life thing, the threats, the criminal activity. It was unbelievable. So there's a very kind of real possibility that it could go that way.
Absolutely.
So
I think that is a real concern. Not to cut anybody off here. I just got a text from Don.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is we're not going to be monetizing this video because Don, here, let me show you. Don says, Benny, from Don, Benny, Summer's favorite songs is Star Rider by Foreigner. So what we're going to do, guys, I'd like for everyone to mute their mics, and we're going to listen to Star Rider by Foreigner for Summer right now, because Don has called in and requested it, guys. So without further ado, guys, here we go.
I stole a ride on a passing star, not knowing where I was going, how near or how far. 2 years of life and then to future and past, until the heavenly gates were shining at last. Star Rider, take me to the stars. Star Rider, show me where you are. The northern lights flashed by, and then they were gone. And as old stars would die, till the new ones were born. Whenever on I sail to celestial ways, and in the light of my years shone the rest of my day. Speed increasing, all control is in the hands of those who know. Will they help us grow to one day reach the light?
All right. All right, guys. So, how's everybody doing? We're back in here.
Still here.
Doing okay.
Yeah, that was
It's awesome, right?
yeah.
You know what? I find that she has an old soul, must be. Because if she likes foreigners, like, look how old them guys look nowadays, right? Like, oh, man, I remember when they all had darker hair and they were on MTV just getting with it.
And a lot more hair.
A lot more hair. So, shouts out to Don, man. I find it so cool that a little girl has eccentric taste for music like that. That is, that's awesome. That you know, to me, like that's awesome. Like when you
Oh, yeah.
I've seen little kids and I'm like, hey, what are you listening to? And they're like, the Beatles. I'm like, what? Like, no way. That's
Right.
awesome. So I think that's
So,
really cool.
Benny,
Yeah,
let me ask you a question.
go ahead.
Talking about this Don B guy,
Yeah.
he's some Yahoo that's there in Tennessee somewhere.
Right.
I at first, I watched anything and everything that had to do with Summer Wells because I was like, who is this adorable little girl? This is just horrible that she's missing. And then I started, paying attention to who these curators are. And then I'm like, well, one, that man could be brought up on charges of inciting a riot.
Well, did you see the other thing that that I posted about Don B yesterday?
I don't
did.
know if I did. The only thing I caught yesterday,
Okay.
and I'm still a little bit confused about, I chimed in on or was watching Voices Behind the Wall.
Yeah.
And then something happened between Candace and Mary, and then Candace told Mary that Donnie got $50,000, but could paid it all back but 20. So that made me think that maybe somebody has Summer because there's $20,000 owed.
Yeah,
Is
that was determined to be just, far as I'm concerned and what I know about it, that was determined to just be a joke that he played on a troll, and the troll, they got trolled back and they didn't know, and so they ran to the bank with it, and now it's exploded into what it is now.
Right.
okay.
The cartel is not involved, and even if they were, I'm going to continue to say that they're not, because I don't want no cartel attention. And so
That part.
That part. Like,
Well, I'm going to tell you something
ain't my
about the
business.
cartel. If they were involved and he did borrow money from them, and $20,000 is owed, and they are holding his daughter because of it, well, sayonara, because now that they have brought their name into it, she's
Right.
gone.
Yeah, and I don't.
And they will disappear off the face of the earth, so that was really stupid. If
the dynamic,
stupid move.
the dynamic. Well, I mean, I appreciate
In
your
all
opinion.
honesty,
I'll say that. Go ahead.
like, my bad. Okay, in all honesty, Don might not be. I'm not saying he's not smart, because he is a smart man, but he's smart enough to know that you don't you don't mess around and say things about the cartel and it being true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see somebody,
Exactly.
because they know what repercussions are.
He knows
coming
what comes
when
with
you
that.
Play around like that.
He knows what
Right.
comes
So
with that.
I doubt very seriously. Like, I mean, at first I was like, oh my God, damn, hold on, wait, what is this? But then I took a step back and I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, I ain't got like
Man,
the
listen.
cartel in my family, but I
The
have
cartel, they
some
still
family
got
that's like sketchy.
they still got some morals and some ethics, right? Like the cartel,
Right.
they're really not going to come and just take your daughter. Like their interest, like Summer wouldn't have borrowed that money, right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
So
And they're more than likely going to kill like an adult. They're not going to kill a child.
Man,
They
yeah,
might kill a female, but
yeah, they'll whack Don, no problem.
Right,
But
right,
their
right.
interest ain't with that kid, because when you start doing stuff with kids, like that's a whole different thing. Now, if they were down in Houston or somewhere real close to the border, you could say, oh, well, that cartel shit starts taking on a different meaning and a different intensity
It sure does.
Right.
when you're closer.
Yep.
Like we see.
And they would also consider taking the whole family. The whole family would just disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah, if they live closer to the border, but not in Tennessee.
Yeah.
To make it
Right.
to take them from Tennessee and then try to get across the border with them, that's a whole lot of hotness that's gonna, not gonna make that go through smooth, right? So we pretty much established that cartel stuff was a joke, right? It's you want to know how many times, I don't know specifically, but how many times Don had probably been asked, hey, did you make anybody mad or did you owe anybody money? Like that's
Right.
coming trying to be the armchair detective. Like, man, fuck all that. You just hit him. I don't ask Don no questions.
Yeah.
I don't like that's not.
Well, I have a question. Has anybody done a property search going all the way back to the very beginning of that deed on that property?
I have no idea. I'm sure.
Because there has to be an old well somewhere. And my bet it has been either it was tapped dry or it was better suited to be moved. And they dug a different well. And if so, then they capped it. And the reason I'm saying this is, there's different theories. A, she was abducted. B, she wandered off. C, there's a horrible accident and one or more persons got rid of her. Okay. Or how about the simple fact that she was being a kid? Because I'm going to tell you something. We have 7 kids and 8 grandkids, and I would love to have had them children grow up their entire life and me tell them, don't go past this mark. I have one child out of the last 3 that would never go near the mark. I have one child that would have put her toes up to exactly the mark. And then the baby, he would have just took a flying leap and done whatever he wanted to do anyway. Because kids are kids and they're going to test those boundaries and those limits. And I'm saying this is it possible that wherever this old well is, that she fell down into that well? And if it's deep enough, the dogs would not be able to smell her.
Well, so I mean, they would have a flashlight, and I'm sure that they have lots of tech that they could drop down in that well and make sure that.
Well, that's if they even know it's there, because a lot of people cover it up with stone. They cover it up with tin, with stone, dirt. It just depends.
Hundreds of law enforcement officials on that tiny little piece of property, hundreds. So I'm sure every square inch has been looked very well. Now, that's not to say that somewhere else, another location like that, hasn't been utilized by somebody. I think that that's a fine idea, but I will tell you that those types of things had been really looked at real hard in the first couple of weeks. They tried to make sure they knew where all those, cavernous, just holes. They really focused on that. So I feel confident with knowing that there were, 3,000 or 4,000 searchers, and a lot of those had been across that property as well as other places. I feel pretty confident that all of those types of areas have been looked over. Now, that's not to say that something hasn't been utilized that's being disguised as something else, like you're saying, right? If you put rocks on top of it, doesn't mean you can't take them away to put something in it to put rocks back on top of it again.
Right.
All of those things are very valid points. Now, but what we have to remember is what we know from the different outlets, right? So what I like to do is I like to make a list or make notes of the things that I know that have come from TBI, but are misinformed or really skewed in the wrong way online. And it's tremendous when you start to look at the actual factual fact that it gets lost to the actual main thing from TBI. When it's distributed, it gets served up and redisplayed by everybody in different ways that unless you subscribe directly to the channel that has that expose, you're only getting everyone's opinion of it, not actually what they said, right? So,
Right,
agree.
right.
yeah, it's really bad because it doesn't matter even if you show the interview or that segment in its entirety. What happens is that you put a commentary behind it or before it that loads it cognitively.
Someone else, the little girl's missing. Oh, you live? Yeah. You talking to this person? Yeah. Oh, you really? Did y'all pass Sandy up? No, but I thought the Patty was in here. Yeah. Where did he go? He overslept. He has to work tonight. Can y'all go get him something to eat and take?
All right, so moving on. Anybody else want to join? We're gonna go. Anybody else have anything to add?
One thing I'd like to say just before I go is, I think my kind of a word of kind of caution to people on your side of the pond is to be very careful of the commentary where we'll safeguard your children, we'll protect your children. And that's not to say that people who do this kind of job aren't or don't have the best intentions, but safeguarding starts at home. So one of the things that I really liked about tonight, Benny, was where you kind of hid your camera because your family were coming home.
Right.
And so many people don't realize what they're giving away online and across different platforms. So you talked about hybrids. So one of the kind of the people that I would work for to do my kind of bit was we would go onto live streaming apps and sort of safeguard the kids on there. And you would get children, and so many children in America, it was unbelievable. But what we would do is we would go on there and you would have children from the ages of 5 upwards live streaming. But what they tend to do is they tend to use the same name across different platforms.
Correct.
So what we could do, if they were in Britain, for instance, legal software, we could, myself and another person working for this organization, we could bounce off where that person was, and the distance from me and the distance from the other party would give us a rough location of where that person was. We would look for things like we would go onto their Snapchat, their Instagram, and we could usually find within 3 or 4 minutes their full names, where they lived, maybe their addresses, where they went to school, you name it, who their parents were. So we were able to contact the school, the safeguarding officers, and say, look, this is what this person's doing online. We could contact the police, we could contact the parents. Everybody that listens to this, look at your Facebook, look at your Instagram. What are you putting on there? Is it saying where you go? Have you got your kids on there? Is your profile locked down? Have you got friends who have got open profiles that are commenting that again show where your kids are? So as much as the idea of having paedophile hunters is great, the safeguarding starts with all of us, and we all have to safeguard our own children. And that starts with you looking at what you're giving away online. So when Don says, you know, Candace was putting stuff online, she was doing what millions and millions of us do, but sometimes we can give too much information away.
Absolutely.
And
him and I
can
discussed
tell you
that too, and he asked me a few questions about TikTok, and now
Yep.
I'm a lot more versed on, you know, the science of TikTok, whereas I wasn't last night. I've, you know, familiarized myself, and so it is, you know, it is a strange environment, a strange culture on TikTok,
and it's full of predators.
It's absolutely chock full. Now, my daughter, she is a mildly to moderately successful TikToker, and so when, you know, she has a really big page, and when you go and you start looking at who some of these men are, like she's constantly kicking out men that are old, and it's just when you go look, they're private, or, you know, it's just a scary situation, you know? And so that's what we as parents, it's the trade-off, right? It's the trade-off of listening to our kids say, oh, well, Mom, but everyone else is doing it. And you want your kid to, you know, when they go to school to also feel validated by making a cool TikTok to all their friends that they've seen. But like you said, meanwhile, you're putting out, you know, you're doing these in front of your house where your address is there, or, you know, showing what color car you may travel in. So yeah, there are real threats. Now, the real threats aren't necessarily, you know, an abduction of your child. The real threat is that someone could SA your child. These people,
yeah.
they're not interested in necessarily taking your child at all. We see that by the stats. Between 150 and 350 kids go missing per year due to the third party effect. But what we don't talk about here necessarily is the stats on the predators that are actually, you know, get a hold to a kid, right? What are those stats, right? So, and nowadays, you know, the abduction rates should be skyrocketing in terms of the third party, because if an offender is close enough and spends enough time with a child to offend against it, if its motive were to abduct the child, that certainly is very easy to do, right? So we still have in America, we still have the familial abduction issue. That is what our issue is. We have, you know, upwards of 30,000 or more familial abductions every year. That is some sort of custody issue or misunderstanding or whatever. And that's kind of proof of concept that our family law here in America, it seems to have a flaw, because there ought to be some sort of legislation that you could write in that would change these dynamics and create an environment for the child that was safe, right? What we have right now is family law that is struggling to keep the children safe, in which they're servicing, right? They're taking money for child supports. They're doing all these different things, meddling in family business. Now, I think that there are a lot of responsible humans in America that don't need a court to step in and say, you got to pay this much, right? Like I know several people that have been split and got kids, and they don't pay child support through a court, right? So when you have that exploitation of the child as well, it is a very fine line, right? When you look at in terms of exploiting the child to I've heard it said, blackmail money from the other party, the non-custodial party. And if the non-custodial party doesn't pay, what happens? You take away their freedom, thus making it where they're getting further in arrears, right? So here in Texas, the first time you get behind on your child support, you know, they're going to lock you up and they're going to give you a second chance. That second time, 180 days. So then when you get out, what happens after you've been locked up for 180 days? What if you were only 2 months behind? Because that's here in Texas when they start to apply arrest warrants, is after 2 months. That's now felony neglect. If you go 2 months, 60 days without paying, it's felony neglect. Okay. Now, what happens if you're only 2 months behind because we're in a really bad pandemic and we're in a really bad economy in terms of the blue collar worker? What happens when he's only 2 months behind, but you lock him up for his second time, and now he's gone for 6 months, 180 days, right? He's gone. When he gets out, it's not prorated. Your life doesn't start back up. Your house or apartment, it's gone. Your car, it's gone. If you have another relationship, it's suffering because of the exploitation of the child against the non-custodial parent. It's what it is, right? It's not, I didn't design it. I'm only interpreting the way that it actually works. Now, if you don't prefer the verbiage, I apologize. Feel free to interchange any of the words that I said that you don't like to a word that's more comfortable for you. But that's what it is, right? We handle everything else like we don't have to get We don't have to get a court involved when we buy a house. That's pretty serious business. You're passing along big money. Like, should it be overseen by a court? If you can buy a house without a court, why the fuck do you need to leave your spouse and go to a court to have money pulled from you? Why can't you work it out with the spouse? That ought to be the first thing that they promote. They ought to promote an environment where two people that are split now can come together and agree on a financial term. That's not what happens. The non-custodial parent, who usually is the father, he comes to court and he is immediately treated like someone that owes money and is a bad guy, right? So when that happens, there's already a bad taste. Now you think about all the men and women out there that are non-custodial parents who are fighting a system to still see their kid. See, when the custodial parent cuts up and doesn't let the child go over and tortures the other child and participates in parental alienation from the non-custodial parent, those things aren't addressed by courts. Only the non-payment. Well, is it not also necessary to feed the soul, which is not, it doesn't cost anything to feed the soul? Are we not worried about feeding the souls of these children out here? We only want to make sure their bellies are fed, right? That their lights are cut on. That's awesome. Those are staples of life to raise children, but you also have to feed the soul. And when you allow one parent to offend in a way that's not addressed against another parent, what are you creating? You're creating an environment where a child then grows up to offend against it's conducive. You've created a perfect environment. So anybody have anything to add to that? I'll get fired up talking about that stuff.
I just
I
wanted
completely
to
agree with you.
close with the just remember though that when you have a tablet or when you have a phone and you have internet access, who is your child inviting into their bedroom every night when you're not there?
Into your house.
Yeah,
Right.
into their bedroom at night without you knowing about them and what is going on.
You know how easy it is to get a teenager to give you their address? I'm sure it's probably simple. All you got to do is act like you got some makeup for sale or some crazy thing that these kids are into, and you're like, "Oh, I'll Amazon it to you now. What's your address?" Like
I'd say 90% of them, Benny, you can get without even asking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But thank you for having me on, folks. It's been an interesting one.
Thank you, Ms. Pennington. I've seen you around, and thank you for now interacting. Tattoo Mommy, do you have anything you'd like to add before we close this thing down?
No, I just thank you for letting me come on, and you really gave some insight to the question I asked, because I really did not know about all that other. That's pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to go in a rabbit hole and do some research on that, because that's got my I'm just intrigued by that. That is crazy.
Spivey.
Yeah, but thank you for letting me come on.
You're welcome. Spivey in the Cash App gang. Thank you, Spivey. I was just getting ready to text you here very soon. And Autumn J, where are you at? In fact, I'm going to text you right now, Autumn J. I have not heard or seen from you in quite a while. So, guys, I want to show you this real quick. Should have did this earlier when the situation was peak, but we were in the middle of something, guys. This is where we're at now, right? Where are we at here? This is where we're at on the petition, guys. We are almost to 1,400, ladies, and I appreciate every signature, every signature. You know, I want to address something really quick about what I see in terms of the demographic of this petition. For some reason, this petition is not of interest to men. Look at here. They're all women. I don't know why. I don't know why it seems almost impossible to get men to co-sign this. I mean, there's now, I would be damn happy with every woman in the world signing this petition. There's, what is it, 3 women to every man, so that would be awesome. But I just can't help but see the trend that it is all women. And so women, thank you. Thank you for being so empowered, right? It's a beautiful thing. Look at all these names. These are just the recent supporters, right? Like we have 1,357 names out here, guys. Now, if you're not already on that list, put yourself on that list. Put yourself on that list. I'm going to take a minute and pin it. Spivey, thank you so much, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and pin it. And then we're going to close. We're going to close with prayer. Miss Pennington, thank you again for showing up. I really appreciate you. You have been here for a long time, and for that, I'm grateful. Tattoo Mommy, thank you. Miss Carla, thank you for coming by. Here is the close, guys. I love all of you individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Be good to somebody, right? Be good to somebody. I don't care who it is, preferably somebody that you live with, right? Be nice to somebody. I'm talking to the trolls out here that come over and talk nasty to us. What did Lizzie say? I don't know what she said, man. I don't have a way to play it from here, Lizzie, and I looked for it, and for whatever reason, I can't find it. So I will put it in the next one for sure. That's why I covered the petition stuff. I'll put it in a Autumn J. Okay, girl, I was getting ready to text you. I'm like, hold up, and then I got sidetracked. Autumn J, awesome. I'm glad. I was like, where has Autumn J been? I've been worried about you, girl. I'm so glad that you're in here. Thank you. You've been on my mind. So, guys, I had some issues with the COVID vaccine, as everyone knows. And it was just my chemistry and some of the ingredients. Autumn J is suffering from a long-term COVID, long-term vaccination issue. It has really disrupted her life in a way, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to scare anybody away from. My wife mentioned that to me. She said, "You made a video about being sick from the vaccine. Now you're going to scare people away." That is not what I'm trying to do. I only want you to be aware that it's a real thing, guys. Autumn suffers from just a spectrum of different issues that she did not have before. And that's a fact. I don't have a way to play the link, Lizzie. I'm sorry. If you can email it to me, I can. But I don't have a way I can't just click it right there and then go over. It'll just show the link. It'll just show it right here. There you go. She said she's glad she took the vaccine, right? So, God willing, we'll get through everything, right? If you guys aren't aware, go check out Trinity. She's made a video for in honor of the petition. I looked for it. I'm subscribed to her, but I don't even know how to look for my subscribers on this platform, on this interface. On here, I can find it no problem. But I don't have a way to even copy the thing. So we're going to close out with this right here. I love all of you. Here it is.
Yo, let us pray. Father, please walk with us through the bad times as well as the good. May we be heard and understood from the suburbs to the hood. May you judge us by our hearts and not by our mistakes. And see that we get our breakthrough however long that it takes. May you fill that void in our souls that will lay our fears to rest. But there's no way we can live for Jesus when we're living in the flesh. So I pray that you allow our spirits to be born, grow strong, move on, know right from wrong. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. And we know what that means. But listen, we know the distance we need to be away from fire to keep it missing. That doesn't mean we listen. Lord, you take care of fools and babies. Teach women to honor their men and men respect their ladies. But lately, so many of us have gone astray, doing wrong for so long that we've forgotten the way. Please bring us back home. Instill in us the word which is our backbone, which is children that grown. There is so much that we're entitled to, yet we receive so little. See, this time of spiritual warfare, we're comfortable. Little. So I pray that you open our eyes. Give us the anointing to recognize the devil and his lies. If we keep our actions wise and our prayers sincere, ahead to the sky, you will diminish our fears. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. Amen.